to Beyond Your Balance Sheet from the Sedora Group of Steward Partners Global Advisory. I'm Laura Knoy. Today, we explore the accounting profession at a time of transition, from demographic changes to increased automation to the growing complexity of the tax code. We're talking with Robin Abbott. She's the CEO of the New Hampshire Society of Certified Public Accountants. And Robin, a big welcome to Beyond Your Balance Sheet. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Laura. It's really nice to be here with you today.
Well, let's start with the obvious, Robin. Let's clarify what a CPA does, because I came across an article on your website that said a CPA is about a lot more than just taxes. So what is exactly the role of a CPA?
That's a great question. Great place to start. So CPA is a certified public accountant. It's a designated license that accounting professionals have to work from the complexities of reporting, compliance, financial disclosures and statements. You name it. It is a licensed professional, and there's certain requirements you have to have educationally, as well as test preparing, continuing education, and experience. So that is a CPA to begin with, and it's a group of individuals I'm extremely proud to be working with and in admiration of every single day.
So where does the certification part come in, Robin? Could you be an accountant without being a certified accountant?
There are accounting professionals that don't have their certification, but the certification is an actual license you take. There's 4 parts currently. There will be 5 parts next year. So you have to pass each one of those sections of the test to become certified. And as I mentioned before, there's a lot of continuing education because, as you know, the industry is ever changing. So certified public accounts especially have to be on top of what the new changes are, the regulations, the new tax laws, you name it. So certified is really an important aspect of accounting, but there are other individuals who don't have the certification, but many in this day and age are striving for that.
Yeah, and we'll talk in a minute about all the changes that you mentioned. There is so much going on in this field. But first, Robin, we talked about this earlier when we first met. For people outside this field, what is the image or the stereotype of a career as a CPA, and how accurate is the stereotype?
Well, there's some accuracies to the image that it's very mechanical, very tedious, somewhat boring and numbers driven. There is a certain aspect of that. But I think it's really important to remember that accountants are the front lines of many complexities in the financial world. They deal with liquidity events, succession planning with families. There's a lot of client interface. And oftentimes accountants are the first ones that people will go to amongst, many issues that they have, whether it be family finances or business logistics, you name it.
Well, and on your website, I noticed several very well done videos of young, diverse accounting professionals talking about how exciting their jobs were and all the cool businesses and cool people that they work with. And it almost seemed to me, Robin, like they were trying to message to other people, this isn't what you think. This is fun, this is meaningful, and this is different every day.
It's a great point to bring up. So typically CPAs are looked upon as sort of boring or not necessarily very exciting or an exciting profession, but that is so not the case. There's so many aspects of accounting, whether it's forensic accounting and you work with the FBI, or you're a CFO at a large public company, or in many instances, you're dealing with families and the intimacies of family finances and succession planning. So there's a huge breadth of opportunities and complexities that come in this field. And I think what's happening is the stereotypes that have been put out there in previous years are changing. And a lot of the young professionals are seeing that there's so much more exciting avenues to pursue rather than what they had been perceived as before.
Well, let's talk about younger people. As you know, Robin, many professions, not just accounting, are said to be heading for a demographic cliff as baby boomers retire and not enough young people join these professions, whatever they might be. What does it look like in accounting?
It's certainly true in accounting. I mean, we're seeing that across the board in all professions. I mean, let's face it, this is a societal problem. It's not just a CPA problem. In particular, this industry has had some challenges with some retirements that have been coming for a long time, we've known about. On the other end is pipeline issues. So we're really trying to promote this profession among students, not only at the college level, but in high school levels as well. And we're doing a much better job of that, which is really about awareness and letting younger students know the field is exciting and it's ever changing. And more than not, I think today the industry is responding to what younger professionals are looking for, which, as we all know, is more work-life balance. It's having fun. It's not what the past perceptions have been, which is you're up till all hours of the night working 80 to 90 hours a week. Sometimes that happens, but it's certainly changing, and there are a lot of technology, opportunities to help that change as well.
Well, sure. And let's talk about your outreach to younger people to encourage them to get into the profession. From what I understand, Robin, you're even going as far back as high school. So, what are you doing with high school students to encourage them to take a look at accounting?
Yeah, we are, and thanks for bringing that up, Laura. We're going into different CTE centers and CTE centers, career and technical education centers throughout the state of New Hampshire. Our Young Professionals Committee, they're made up of typically the 25 to 35-year-old professional advisor that will go into a classroom and talk about what their life is like, what they see, what are the exciting parts, what are the parts maybe people didn't know about, what makes them excited about going to work every day. And at the high school level, that's working out really well, because that's typically when people are thinking about, what do I want to do? What would I like to pursue? And as we'd mentioned before, with the past perceptions and the stereotypes, these young professionals are going in to change those stereotypes in the professions. And there's no better person than someone's close to your age to be able to say, you know what, it's not what your dad thought it was. It's not what, has been written about. It's really changing, and there's a lot of excitement going on now. So we're thrilled to be doing that now.
What about college students, Robin? I know some of the college students you're involved with are, already getting their hands on in this profession.
Yeah, we're thrilled. We started a new initiative this past year with many of our colleges throughout the state that offer accounting degrees. And our accounting students are actually creating this initiative to teach financial literacy. And we've had a partnership with DCYF that they create these classroom programs. It's all done online, and helping individuals in the DCYF programs learn about financial literacy. And it's been a win-win, Laura. I mean, we have our students who are so thrilled to be doing this and offering this kind of knowledge. And then the recipients to be learning, again, from someone close to their own age. I had one of our students reach out to me afterwards and say, we had a foster individual living with us, and I felt like I was helping my sister. So when you see this excitement happening on both sides, it's been a wonderful experience for us. And our college students, as we all know, can teach and can communicate in ways that perhaps we never even thought about before. So they're very relative, and they're fun, and they're so smart. So the future is bright with our college students for sure.
Well, in DCYF, just to let our viewers and listeners know, Division of Children, Youth, and Families. So they're working with some family members who might not have access to this type of information or training, right, Robin?
Exactly. And they're not only working in the foster homes where this information is being broadcast to, but some of the foster homes as well, which is an added benefit, because many of these families also can benefit from the financial literacy that these students are teaching. So we're thrilled. We just launched that this past year. We've been asked to expand on that. And not only do we have a handful of colleges and universities participating, but now that is also doubled in size.
Oh, wow. So it's really gives people a sense of giving back.
It sure does. Giving back and also receiving, because as we all know, when you give, you receive so much more in return.
Right. So as we talk about demographics, only 2% of accountants today in the United States identify themselves as Black. This profession is known as a very white profession. Why do you think that's the case, Robin? And why do you think that's important to change?
Well, I think in New Hampshire, we are learning certainly much more about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and many professions are really focusing efforts on that. I mean, I think accounting itself has always been perceived as very mathematical or very sort of boring in that aspect. And certainly with the demographics that we have here in New Hampshire, it's been very hard to expand this outside of other opportunities that are available. So we're working on that. We are trying to do our very best to make sure, the AICPA, which is the American Institute of CPAs, as well as NASBA, which is the National Association of State Boards of Accounting, are putting a lot of effort behind diversity, equity, inclusion, and opening up, opportunities. And I will tell you, and it's not just Black, but it's also gender focused. As far as, since I've been in this profession, I've seen the amount of women come into this just double and triple over the past years. And that's really wonderful to hear and see, because again, stereotypes from years ago are changing, and we're really proud of that. Is there more work to do? Absolutely. And we're trying to do that as much as we can.
Well, and on that note, you did an interview on your own podcast called Fiscal Factors with the author of a book about the first Black certified public accountant in America, a man connected to New Hampshire. I love this story, Robin. So remind us briefly who he was and how he became the first Black American to be a certified public accountant right here in the Granite State.
I know. Can you believe it? Little old New Hampshire. So John Cromwell Jr. was our first certified public accountant in New Hampshire, certified back in 1921. So we just hit the 100-year anniversary a couple of years ago. He came to New Hampshire. He came from a very well-educated family. He had opportunities to come to Dartmouth College, where he got his certification, eventually was a teacher at Howard University. But what was wonderful about that is his whole family was very educated, and he was really able to promote the profession, not only amongst other accountants, but with Black businesses as well. So it's a wonderful story that it started here, and we're very, very proud of that. Dr. Teresa Hammond, who was from San Francisco State University, is the one that wrote the book, and it's a really nice sort of historical perspective. And what she had told me was, there were accounting students that would look at this as a real uplifting story to help them keep on their path and keep on their mission of wanting to, be in this profession. So I love that the story came from little old New Hampshire. And I think, I didn't even know about it until a couple of years ago. And I'm very proud of the fact that, we have so much to be thankful for, and have a great history. And I want to continue that.
Yeah, no, it was a great little unknown gem that I heard on your podcast. So thank you for that. I have to ask you about artificial intelligence, Robin, because everywhere you turn these days, people are talking about AI, how they will use it, whether it poses a threat. I just wonder what the conversation is among accountants about whether AI and increased automation in general will take away jobs or provide more opportunities.
Another great question, Laura. And I know we spoke about this a little, and I was grateful to hear that I flipped the coin on this for you, because typically there's a lot of concerning elements of AI. I mean, I think it's here, and again, in every industry that we're looking at. Many of the accountants I speak to welcome it, because there's a lot of the automation and sort of some of the tasks that are mundane that AI will certainly help with, whether it's scanning or self-populating. There's some really wonderful aspects of AI that can help this industry. And what that will do is leave the opportunity for professionals to have that one-on-one time and the real advisory time versus the reporting time or the box checking time, so to speak. So AI is, and there's certainly some caution that has to be there as far as the security, and which is also coming in tandem with AI across all fields. But many of the accountants I speak with, it's a part of what they do already. And if you look back historically, when QuickBooks came around, everybody thought QuickBooks was going to be terrible or hurt the industry. And it's basically what a lot of people use as well. So I think we have to embrace change. Change always happens. And I do think this particular change is going to help this industry.
That's interesting. We talked earlier about the demographics and, older people retiring, not quite enough young people getting in. So AI may actually help with that, Robin, because the more mundane tasks that people sometimes associate with accounting could be done by technology, leaving the person open to have that more interesting and meaningful role as a trusted business advisor, and also meaning they're not working, 90 hours a week during tax season.
Exactly. I mean, people are in this profession to work with people. Certainly they like numbers, and they work very well with those kind of aspects of the job, but undoubtedly they like helping people. So people that are accountants, there's nothing better than when you help that business do what they do best by handling their books, or when you're approached by that family member who lost somebody who handled all the money management, and they need help understanding the complexities of the family finances or the balance sheets. And accountants love that aspect of what they do. And if you were to ask any one of them why they do it, they're going to cite a story like that, not necessarily scanning documents.
So, and there was a story that you told me earlier about an accountant who had a very fulfilling relationship with a client, an older woman whose husband had died. He'd always done the finances. She took the box, basically, of papers to the accountant and said, help. And the accountant did it.
Exactly. And I talked to that accountant afterwards, and she said that made everything I had done worthwhile. And again, it goes back to your discussion or your about the trusted advisor. And it was just a really warm story in that it gave also this woman the confidence to be able to learn this at an older age and build on this and become confident and prepared and provide information to other family members. So being in that position as the accountant to help this individual was so meaningful, and that's what really excites people, and that's why they do this, and that's why some of the other aspects of the job that can be tedious and sometimes unfulfilling makes it that much more worthwhile when you know that you're helping people and you're helping them in a very profound way.
Well, and given the shortages in the accounting profession, what's hard about being an accountant? What's the hardest aspect of doing this really important work?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the hard aspect, let's be real. There's deadlines, there's reporting requirements. I mean, this is probably one of the only industries that has so many specific date deadlines. Some of the technology is certainly helping with that. But I think the other part that's the hardest is the stereotype and the lack of awareness. So
Really?
yeah, there are stereotypes, as we mentioned before, that it's a boring job, or it's an introverted person that's typically doing this, or that there's not a work-life balance to this kind of work. And that is really not the case. There's much more work-life balance than there was before. I mean, COVID certainly helped us with that, with a lot of the technological changes, the hybrid opportunities. There's some outsourcing now that we can look at other ways to have, people from across the country help a firm here in New Hampshire maybe do their work. But the stereotype has been there before, and this lack of awareness that there's so much more opportunity out there. Being an accountant is not just in a box. Being an accountant is really pretty widespread. So that's something we're really trying to change. Again, the perception and the awareness of how really exciting the profession can be.
What's fun about being an accountant? You've kind of touched on it, Robin, but I'd love to hear it again.
Yeah, I mean, what's fun is helping people, is making a difference. There's nothing better at the end of the day when you know you saved this person not only money, but worry, you provided confidence, and they trust you. I mean, I've talked to accountants that say, people ask me who I use for plumbing services. That goes to tell you that they will ask you, and they revere your opinion. And it's not easy, as we all know in this day and age, to get to that level of trust and confidence. And I've seen it along the way. I've been in this role for almost 8 years now, and I have the utmost respect for this profession, because I've seen it across all different realms of the complexity, the challenges, the shortage. We're working on pipeline issues right now, as we mentioned, to get in high schools about, having people look at the profession, keeping people here in the state. Many other professions are also trying to do that. But it really is fun when at the end of the day you can say, wow, I changed that person's life, or wow, I really made them comfortable and happy and relaxed and assured. So what's better than that? We all know there's no better feeling than to say, I made a difference in somebody's life.
Well, I mean, speaking personally, I don't want to have to figure out the IRS tax code, and I'm very grateful for the person who helps me figure it out. So there is that. Do you have a broad message, Robin, that you want to leave us with? What us, the general public, what do you want us to better appreciate about the accounting field and the people who work in it?
I'm really glad you asked that, Laura, because I thought about that today. I really want people to know that as important as everybody's issues are, do know that many of our accounting professionals have a lot of clients, have a lot of work. So although your particular issue may be very, very important to you and you reach out to your CPA and can you please call me back today? I'm very concerned. If they don't call you back immediately, it's not that you're less important. It just may be that there's another pressing issue that's a little bit more important. And I know when I've done my taxes, and maybe you too, Laura, you think, oh my gosh, can you please answer this question? And it's important, but perhaps that day there's a huge, sale that's happening with a $10 million company that your accountant is trying to prepare valuation numbers. And so they may not be able to get back to you that day, but please know their goal is to service everybody. And, I just think about, as we all know, when we get emails and notifications and calls, you have to prioritize that. So I just want people to understand there's nobody better than prioritizing their workload. They work with deadlines. They know how to prioritize. So
Yeah.
have a little understanding on the other side that, you know what, they're human beings too. They're not chat bots. They're human beings as well. And they just need just a little understanding and patience at times, especially around tax deadline times.
Right. Well, Robin, we have to wrap it up there, but I really want to thank you very much for taking the time and, explaining this to us. There's a lot here that I didn't know, and I really appreciate talking to you.
Thank you, Laura. I mean, I really appreciate you very much for highlighting this important profession. It means a lot to us, and we thank you very much. And if you want more information, certainly go to our website. You could find a lot of resources there as well.
That's Robin Abbott. She's CEO of the New Hampshire Society of Certified Public Accountants. Beyond Your Balance Sheet is sponsored by the Sedora Group of Steward Partners Global Advisory. I'm Laura Knoy. Thanks, everyone, for being with us.